晚嚟臨參加我和市長有個約會嘅晚宴。
Now we are presenting National Anthem by Mr. Glenn Lau.
我哋現在邀請 Mr. Glenn Lau 為我哋唱國歌。
Mr. David Miller has been serving our city for a long time, and it is our pleasure to show him our appreciation for his hard work.
各位來賓，我哋呢個籌委會今晚好高興、好榮幸有呢個機會為市長預備呢個晚宴。David Miller 市長為多倫多服務多年，我哋藉着呢個晚宴表示對佢一個謝意。
Please give a warm welcome to our host, Mr. Malcolm Mansfield, to the stage.
我哋而家邀請我哋籌委會主席 Mr. Malcolm Mansfield 為我哋講幾句嘢。
你好。Mayor Miller immigrated to Canada from England in 1967. And moved to Toronto in 1981. He received a degree in economics from Harvard University and a law degree from the University of Toronto. Prior to running for public office, he was a partner with the law firm of Baird & Bairless, where he specialized in employment and immigration law and shareholder rights.
市長苗大偉同我哋好多多倫多市民一樣，都係移民過嚟加拿大嘅。
He became a councillor in 1994, and in 1997 he was elected to the new City of Toronto Council, where he served for 2 terms. While he was considered by many political pundits to be the underdog in the last election, he ran successfully for mayor. Mayor Miller came to office promising sweeping change and a cleaning up of corruption. One of the main items of the mayor's agenda is the New Deal for cities, and is the key to success of almost every other initiative that the mayor's office is working on. Securing the New Deal is helping address such important issues as the affordable housing crisis, maintenance and expansion of the TTC, rejuvenation of the waterfront, and more importantly to you, integration of new Canadians into our culture and economy. The New Deal comprises a series of agreements between Toronto, the Toronto government, and the governments of Ontario and Canada. When the agreements are finalized, they will give Toronto 3 things: new money, new power, and a seat at the table. And I'll just explain those a little briefly, and then I will introduce them here. The new money, new kinds of revenue for the city that are absolutely needed, and rather than a complete reliance on property taxes. New power, the city and the provinces are working together to rewrite the City of Toronto Act and remove outdated limitations, giving the city new power to create such things as a city hall, lobbyist registry, or to alter tax structure to allow faster economic growth. And more importantly, a seat at the table. If other levels of government are creating policies that affect Toronto, such as immigration and infrastructure or public health, then Toronto needs to be a part of the decision-making process. With these crucial meetings continuing, we need David Miller there to continue his great work that he has done to date and to advocate for the important issues for the people of Toronto. Mayor Miller believes that if the difficulty is more, then there's more glory in surmounting it. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to welcome our Mayor, David Miller.
Thank you very much, Malcolm, and thank you everyone for being here tonight. Ni hao.
多謝 Malcolm 先生，多謝各位嚟臨參加呢個宴會。你好。
I want to thank you very, very much for being here. I've met many of the people at many of the tables. It's an astonishing turnout, and I feel very heartened by your support. So thank you again very, very much. And I must thank the committee. If I could ask all the committee members to stand up who've organized, please stand up, all of you.
我恭喜今晚咁多位華裔嘅市民出嚟支持佢。請而家我哋嘅 committee 嘅 member 籌委會嘅人員起立。
That applause was for you, your friendship, your hard work, and your support, and thank you.
多謝各位各界嘅支持。
And I particularly want to acknowledge, as you can see, it's a very large committee. I will already be speaking for an hour, so I can't go through every name of the committee, otherwise my speech will be 2 hours. But I do want to acknowledge 4 people from the committee who worked so hard. First of all, Malcolm Mansfield, to introduce me.
市長多謝大家，特別多謝 Malcolm。
Tony Ho.
Tony Ho 先生為咗呢個籌委會嘅努力，市長係特別多謝你。
Juliana Yu.
Juliana Yu.
And Thomas Choi. Thomas Choi. I need to acknowledge Thomas a lot. And I want to thank Malcolm for his introduction because I think he captured why I'm running again for Mayor of Toronto. 3 years ago, I saw a city that needed a city hall turned in the right direction. And over the past 3 years, I think we've laid a tremendous foundation for our city to succeed.
Mr. Malcolm 先生咧問市長，佢好奇怪點解去做市長，但係市長喺3年前就佢有一個願望，就將改變我哋嘅多倫多市。
And I have to tell you how proud I am of Toronto. And I'm running for mayor again because I think it's time for this city to be the great world city that it can be. About a month ago, I had the privilege of speaking in the Sky Dome to 25,000 people from around the world who were here for the International AIDS Conference. And the applause I got was incredible. And it wasn't about me, David Miller. It was about the message I brought about Toronto and what we do here and how we live together and how we work for everyone.
David Miller 我哋嘅市長佢有個願望就係將我哋嘅多倫多市成為全加拿大最好嘅市。
We also had the World Dragon Boat Festival here and the International Firefighters Convention. Thousands of people from around the world coming here to do research in the case of AIDS or advocacy, to compete in sports, and to a convention as firefighters. And the delegates from all three spoke to me and they had one message. They said, Mr. Mayor, we're so proud of your city. It's clean, it's safe, it's beautiful, and it's prosperous. And they also applauded us for the work we do in Toronto as a city.
喺呢個聚會嗰度有防火消防局同埋 ACE 嘅成員，佢哋同 Mr. Mayor 講，佢話我哋好欣賞多倫多市有3樣嘢。第一，多倫多市係好繁榮；第二，多倫多市係好安全。
I know that our city can succeed. We've got everything here. The first thing, of course, is the people. We have people whose backgrounds trace to every country in the world who've come here to ensure the health and success of their family. And I have to particularly acknowledge the Chinese Canadian community for its incredible contribution in so many areas, in healthcare, in the professions, in small business, in academics. In fact, literally, the forefathers of many Chinese Canadians literally built this country through the CP rail. And of course the workers, the very workers who are bringing us this wonderful meal tonight. The Chinese Canadian community in Toronto has truly built our city. So for our city to succeed, we need to build on that success. The strength of our people, the strength of our small businesses, the strength of our academic institutions, the strength of our environment, because if we don't build a strong environment, there won't be a legacy for our children. And most of all, we need to ensure that every Torontonian can share in that prosperity. That's why I'm running for mayor again, and I'd just like to speak to a couple of issues that particularly people in this room have spoken to me about tonight. Because I believe it's about whether people can properly share in that prosperity that's going to make our city truly succeed. And you know what, it's interesting, when I mentioned that the strength of our city is its people, on Sunday I was at a fundraiser, not for me, but for people in the Iranian community. It's a foundation, Pavlavi Foundation, that they've started because they want to build a seniors center for their seniors. And the Iranian community came to Canada pretty recently compared to the Chinese community. In the late 1980s, most people came. And I said to them, how did you get this idea? And they said, we have learned from Dr. Joseph Wong and Yi Hong. And Dr. Joseph Wong's with us tonight. And Dr. Wong, Yi Hong is an incredible example for this city. And that is the kind of way we build on our strength as Toronto. We learn from each other. But there are challenges we must overcome. One of them is we welcome newcomers with open arms. But they get here with incredible talent, with professional skills or trades and qualifications, and we say, oh, wait a minute, you can't work in that field, and it's wrong. And I've been fighting very hard as city councillor and mayor to change that. Malcolm talked about the New Deal, part of the New Deal being a seat at the table. And we're fighting to have Toronto, the city, who advocates on behalf of people here, sign an immigration agreement with Ottawa and Queen's Park, so we can change those rules. And I have to tell you, it affected me personally. My mother and I came here in 1967. She'd been a teacher since 1939. She taught in England, she taught through the war in London, England. She taught in the United States, she taught in Nova Scotia. She came to Ontario after teaching for 28 years, and they said, we're sorry, Mrs. Miller, you're not qualified to teach in Ontario. And the sad thing is today, almost 40 years later, that happens to newcomers. It's wrong. And it's wrong for the people, but it's also wrong for us. Because if we're going to succeed, we need the talent and expertise of newcomers to succeed. There are people here who are working on Chinese traditional medicine and acupuncture with Minister George Smitherman to make sure those professions are properly recognized so people can practice them in a regulated framework and succeed in those professions. And I want to say you've got my full support But the New Deal is about more than that. And we can learn from China. I met recently with the mayor of Chongqing. It's our sister city in China. And we had 2 days of meetings. And I think we learned from him. And I hope he learned from us as well. And one of the things I learned is that China is massively investing in their cities. They have seen the future. And they've said we have to invest in the people of our cities and we have to invest in the infrastructure. And I asked him how he was able to afford to do it. And he said to me, well, we collect all the taxes and then we send half to the national government and we keep half. I'll tell you what happens in Canada. In Canada, the federal and provincial governments collect all the income and sales taxes. So when we have 25,000 people here for an International AIDS Conference or 20,000 here for the World Dragon Boat, and they do business and they spend money, all of those taxes go to Ottawa. City of Toronto collects property taxes. We get 5%. In Chongqing and Beijing, they get 50%. And I believe if Canada is going to succeed as a country, we have to learn from those lessons and start investing in our cities, investing in our public transportation, in our public health, in our public spaces. And it's not just true in Toronto, it's true in Montreal, it's true in Vancouver, it's true in Calgary. Mayors from across this country are speaking with one voice. We need to learn the lessons of countries that are succeeding, that are investing, whose economy is growing, and invest for prosperity. But that investment has to reach everyone. And you know, one of the things about Toronto that's a challenge, we've had some public safety challenges over the past couple of years, and I'm proud how we've responded at City Hall. We've given the largest increase to the police service of this city in the history of Toronto. We've hired more new police officers over the past 2 years than have been hired in the past decade. There'll be 450 more officers on the street, 250 new ones, 200 redeployed by the end of this year to meet some of the safety challenges. But we also have to get at the root of it. And in some neighborhoods in this city, it's easier for young people to get involved in a gang than it is to get a job. And that's not right, because we know what will happen to the future of our city if we don't ensure that those young people have an opportunity. And what I see in our city, and when I go to an event like the World Dragon Boat Festival and hear from people, I get refreshed, because our city is an amazing place. We have an incredible city that can succeed. And we can succeed if we ensure that we invest, we support small business, we support the institutions that support all of the great people of Toronto, but we also don't let anyone get left behind. And that's why I'm running for mayor again this year, because I know that that's the way Toronto can succeed. And by being here today, you tell me that you share that vision. And I want to thank you for your support, for supporting all of the causes that are here tonight, for supporting our great musicians, and the dancer is going to come out, and most of all for your personal support. And I hope you have a wonderful and enjoyable evening. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Toronto artist Mr. Stephen Yao.
我哋籌委會有一份禮物送俾我哋苗大衛市長。
Isn't that wonderful?
Okay.
Thank you.
If you haven't had a chance to see Stephen's paintings, they're remarkable. And one of the things they do, and this painting in particular, shows to me that Toronto is the sum of its peoples. And we truly do learn from each other, like the Iranian community learning from Yihon. And this picture speaks to our incredible diversity, our diversity of arts and culture. And Stephen, it speaks to your talent. And I am just so moved. This is going right to my office, and it's going to hang right in the mayor's office, because it shows what modern Toronto is today, and it also shows your great gifts and talent. And I want to thank you very, very much. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Hi, dinner start now. Please enjoy.
And then there's the traditional old English style, and then there's the newcomers. Right? The new people have created a vibrancy and a talent.
So we do it again. Okay, that's good. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Hold on a second. I promise Mr. Yao to using his camera.
Yeah,
okay.
On camera.
Okay.
咁一撳佢着翻㗎啦，係啦。
Good. Okay. Yeah. Like that. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh yeah, you got a dragon in the background. Whatever you want.
Okay. All the best.
Thank you.
Yeah, in the back. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Wow. Thank you.
I hope someday you will join us and the world will be yours. I wanna hold you so much. And what else to compare the size of you. You guys are having a fun night tonight. This day, all over like a jellyfish, kind of like she knows how to rock and roll. She drives me crazy. Get on my track, take it back.
Thank you, Mr. Man.
And one shake hand one.
Yeah, of course. Thank you very much. This is terrific. Thank you. It's actually hard to speak when you're being interpreted because you have to think in sentences, not paragraphs.
Excuse me?
So, yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. I'm the property manager of Oriental Center at Brittany and Shepherd.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I know very well.
Oh, very
You
good.
do a very good job.
Oh, thank you for your
So,
appreciation.
I wish you every success.
Yeah, thank you.
Don't change the color of your hair.